Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. In this one, I wanted to talk a bit about a change that is happening to the current and all future Season Pass cards in Marvel Snap. I think this is a pretty significant change. I'm not really sure if it's a great direction for them to be going in, but let's go over it here. So this is information that we did get from the recent blog post talking about new cards, Series 4 and 5, Pool 4 and 5, and all that kind of stuff that we can start to expect to see in the next update, which should be coming early next week. But there is something kind of in here that I haven't seen a ton of people talk about yet. I think is very much worth kind of bringing up, and that is the change to the Season Pass cards, where before, if you didn't know this, a Season Pass card is exclusive to the Season Pass for 2 months. 2 months after that card first released, it was added to Pool 3, so players who didn't buy the pass could still get the card as they randomly acquire their cards in Pool 3, and obviously now with the upcoming Collector's Token system, you could also obtain it through there if you so choose. Now, the big change that's happening here is Black Panther and all future Season Pass cards, instead of being added to Pool 3 like they currently are, they're going to be added to one of the new pools, Pool 5. Now, why does that matter? Why does that make a difference? That is because Pool 5 cards are going to be insanely hard to get, it sounds like. So let's read through their description here really fast for Series 5, as they're calling them. Series 5 launches with 6 new cards, including Thanos and Galactus. These are the rarest cards in the game. They can also be found in Collector's Reserves, but they're 10 times rarer than Series 4, and worth noting, I think Series 4 is 10 times rarer than Series 3. So this is going to be 100 times rarer than Series 3 cards to show up in your collector boxes, basically. When we release new cards, or when Season Pass cards are no longer available in their Season Pass, they'll be temporarily added to Series 5. We don't expect players to get every new Series 5 card immediately, since not every card is going to be good or useful for every player. You'll have to decide which of these cards are worth saving your tokens for. And then we can talk about the tokens here too. So how many tokens are needed for each card in each series? Series 3, Pool 3, 1,000 tokens for a card. Series 4 is 3,000 tokens, and Series 5 is 6,000 tokens. So that is a ton of tokens. Now they are giving us some at the start of this update, but it's going to be very easy to burn through them, and I'm probably going to do a whole separate video just analyzing, what are your tokens worth? Do you want to wait to spend them or not? And should they make changes to this system in its current form? But in this one, I mainly wanted to talk about the implications for the Season Pass card, because I know that's something where, there have been some Season Pass cards like Nick Fury that really haven't made an impact on the game much at all, and there have been other ones, such as Daredevil and Wave, and even Black Panther to a lesser extent, that have actually had a pretty significant impact on some of the higher played and more successful decks in the metagame. So another line they have here is, you'll get them all eventually. Over time, some cards will be moved down from Series 5 to Series 4, and some cards will be moved from 4 to 3. This ensures that players starting later aren't going to experience an enormous gap between new player and one who's been playing for years. And it means that if you aren't sure you want to spend the full token price on a new Series 5 card, you can wait until it gets cheaper. We're still figuring out the exact details of cards moving between series. It's a whole new system. We are eager to see how players engage with it, but our goal is that cards generally take months, not years, to move down in series. So a lot to unpack there, but even though we're not getting a time or a date or a set interval, it's pretty clear that they want, a decent amount of time between when they're going to be adding or moving around cards between series. And that definitely strikes some cause for concern, I would say, because under this new system, and again, I'll probably break it down in its own video focused on it, it seems very, very difficult for even people who want to go full whale to kind of get all the cards in the game. Now, there are still things we don't know, if you can purchase tokens or not. So far, it doesn't seem like you can, so you just have to earn them. and it doesn't sound like you will be earning enough of them to get very many of these Pool 5 cards, even if you are someone who has progressed a lot and has all the Pool 3 cards. It's only going to be even trickier for the people who don't. It just seems like a really weird system, and it feels like they're trying to artificially extend how long it takes players to get cards so players don't feel like they run out of content. But I'm not really sure it's a good solution for a game like this, because in a trading card game, battle game, people want to have access to as many cards as possible and try a variety of strategies. This also creates an issue where we already have the feeling of, oh, it feels bad when you get a Pool 3 card, but it's not a card you wanted. And, you know, they're using this shop to kind of make it feel a bit less bad. But now, due to card rarity, the problem is only getting bigger, where if you get a Series 4 card and you're not going to see that card or see a Series 4 card very often, it puts a lot of pressure on that one card being something you're happy to open and can actually use. And given that a decent amount of the cards we've seen so far in Series 4 and Series 5 don't look super impactful. Now, there are a bunch of impactful ones, but some of them do not seem that great overall, which is fine. But it just seems weird that they're walking this fine line between they don't want to print overly powered cards because they're going to be so hard to get, but at the same time you need new cards to be appealing to players if you want them to spend time and money in your game to acquire them. So it's kind of at odds with each other, it feels like to me. And especially if they're going to be ramping up the pace of new cards, and those new cards are going into Series 4 and Series 5, I definitely think there is a lot of work to be done on this current system, whether that's just increasing the amount of ways players can get collector tokens so they have more agency consistently, whether that's upping the amount of lowering the rarity of these cards so they show up a bit more often in the collection level track, or something else entirely where they just lower the amount of time a card is in Pool 5. I think if you only have a card in Pool 5 for a month and then it lowers to Pool 4, effectively cutting its token cost in half, that is a pretty decent way to go about it. But if you're having to wait months for these new cards, where the new cards won't even be new anymore before they finally start to rotate down and be a little bit more attainable, both by luck and by tokens, I think a lot of people aren't going to be very receptive to that kind of thing. Because how card games work is people see the new shiny thing and they want to play with it, and they want to watch other people play with it. And now maybe there will be a handful of creators who full whale out so they can try and get as many cards as possible, but most people aren't going to be in that position, especially looking at current prices, which seems rather expensive. So this is going to be something that I'm sure will probably change a bit over time, but I think feedback is an important part of that. So I definitely recommend getting your feedback out there, as that is what saved us from the tragedy that was Nexus events. And I don't think this is quite as bad, but I still think it's not really a direction a game like this really needs to be taking. And if it is going to be one they're taking, I think it definitely still has a ways to go before it's something that the player base is going to be super happy with. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Just wanted to get the information out there. Again, I'll be following this up with kind of a deeper dive, looking at should you save your tokens? How much are your tokens really worth? What does it cost you to actually get all the cards? All that kind of stuff soon. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.